Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 45. 45 does not have a purport. I can then, yeah. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 23, the Brahmana's wives blessed, text 44 and 45. So we will read 45 together because it is written on the board, and then afterwards I will read text 46. Nanu Swartha Vimudhanam Pramattanam Griha Ihaya Aho Naha Smarayamasa Gopavakyaihi Satam Gatihi Nanu Swartha Vimudhanam Pramattanam Grihe Haya Aho Nah Smarayamasa Gopavakyai Satam Gatihi Nanu Indeed, Swartha, about their own true benefit, Vimudhan, who were bewildered, Pramattanam, who were intoxicated, Griha Ihaya, with their household endeavors. Aho, Naha, As, Smarayamasa, he reminded about Gopavakyaihi, by the words of cowherds, Satam, of the transcendental souls, Gatihi, the ultimate destination. Translation: Indeed, infatuated as we are with our household affairs, we have deviated completely from the real aim of our life. But now just see how the Lord, through the words of these simple cowherd boys, has reminded us of the ultimate destination of all true transcendentalists. Text 46. Anyatha purna kamasya kaivalyadyashisham patehe ishatavyehi kimasmabhirishasyaitat vidambanam. Translation purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, why would the Supreme Controller, whose every desire is already fulfilled and who is the Master of Liberation, and all other transcendental benedictions, enact this pretense with us, who are always to be controlled by Him? Purport: although Lord Krishna is the absolute truth, He humbly sent His cowherd boyfriends to beg food from the Brahmanas. In so doing, He exposed the Brahmanas' foolish arrogance and established the glories of His own transcendental beauty by attracting their very wives to surrender at His lotus feet. ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रितपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभुनित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैतगदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here, now the Brahmanas are coming to their senses and they are realizing that they acted completely against their self-benefit. Swartha vimudhanam. We were bewildered about our real self-interest. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu durashaya ye bahirartha manina. Bhagavatam, in another verse, it is explained. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. People don't know that their real self-interest is in rendering devotional service unto Vishnu. So Brahmanas also, they are Brahmanas, they are supposed to be spiritually advanced. But still they were also bewildered about their real self-interest. Though they were engaged in sacrifices, very auspicious activities, but they still didn't know their real self-interest. So how difficult it is to know our real self-interest. Swarth vimudhana. What to speak of others? Even the Brahmanas were bewildered. Pramattanam griha ihaya. Why we were bewildered about our self-interest? Because we were intoxicated in our household affairs. Therefore we were bewildered about our real self-interest. So if we are distracted because of being attracted by this material world, we will become bewildered by our real self-interest. Nunam pramatte kurute vikarma yatindriya pritaya apranoti. Nasadu manni adam asmanoyam asannapi kleshada asadehaha. Again in that verse it is said, pramattaha, intoxicated, those who are very much intoxicated about this material world. Kurute vikarma, they do all sorts of sinful activities. Brahmanas were not doing sinful activities, they were doing pious activities. But even pious activities also bind us to this material world. Yat indriya pritaya apranoti. For sense gratification, whatever activity we do, whether pious or impious, they all bind us to this material world. So therefore, in one way they are better, the pious activities, but not so much different. Prabhupada used to cite a Bengali proverb, this cow dung cake. So in the village in India, the villagers, they will make patties from the cow dung cakes, and then they will dry it, and after a few days when it's dried, then it can be used for fuel. So there are stages of this drying. Some cakes are freshly made, so they are wet, and those who have completely become dried, they are put in the fire. So the proverb is that the cow dung cakes which are wet, they are laughing at the dry cow dung cakes. that you see, you are going in the fire. We are not going in the fire. So this is because anyway, next day you will also be in the fire. So similarly, these pious activities and sinful activities, they are not different if with the pious activities we miss the goal to come to pure devotion service to Krishna. Because if you are just satisfied by doing pious activities, then by the force of this modes of material nature, we will be driven into doing sinful activities tomorrow anyway. Like we see in the life of Daksh Prajapati. Who becomes Prajapati? They are very pious people to become Prajapati. It's like demigod. So to become demigod, one has to render pious activities for many, many lives. Then only they can become demigods. So this Daksh, to become Prajapati, he must have rendered very volumes of pious activities in his previous lives. So he became Prajapati. But then just see, in that arena where he was going to perform a sacrifice, another pious activity he was going to perform. But what he did, he offended Lord Shiva. In that very sacrifice, he offended Shiva. Why? Because he became very much puffed up because of his pious activities. He became puffed up that I am so great. Everybody is admiring me. I have attained such a high status. I have become Prajapati. And this Shiva, he is my son-in-law. He should pay obeisances to me. So, because of being infatuated by the result of those pious activities, he was impelled to commit offense against Lord Shiva. So, this is the nature of material satoguna. Material satoguna is never completely free of rajoguna and tamoguna. Therefore, at any time, it will be converted, it will be directed to satoguna and rajoguna. Tamoguna and rajoguna. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Rajas tamaschapi bhuya sattvam bhavati bharata, Rajas sattvam tamaschaiva tamas sattvam rajas tatha. These three modes are fighting with each other to become prominent. So sometimes satoguna is prominent, but because the other rajoguna and tamoguna, they are also having great force. So after some time, rajoguna will become prominent and then tamoguna will become prominent because they are all together anyway. So therefore, one may be elevated to satoguna, but that does not guarantee from falling down again. Like Prajapati, he fell down from his position. So, therefore, in the scriptures, we are enjoined to overcome all these three modes, transcend these three modes altogether, not be satisfied by satoguna. So, pramattana, these material modes otherwise can intoxicate us. Intoxication, each of the three modes intoxicate, but in different ways. Sattvat sanjayate jnana. By satoguna jnana we attain knowledge, and by rajoguna we attain greed, and by tamoguna we attain nidra alasya, ajnana. All these three can be intoxicating. Like people who drink wine, we can very easily see how they are intoxicated. They just forget everything. They become like lower than animals, fall down in ditches, they don't realize. Similarly, those who are in rajoguna, they can also be infatuated by their power. like we see Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and many people who have some power, who have some intelligence, they become intoxicated. Because of that intoxication, they commit offenses. They don't treat people properly. They exploit others. So this is intoxication. And similarly, this Satuguna can also be intoxicating. Though ordinarily Satuguna should lead us to devotional service. That is the natural outcome of Satuguna. Therefore, Scripture says that we should try to cultivate Satuguna over Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So it is very beneficial to cultivate Satuguna. But if we miss the point that Satoguna in itself is not the goal, we have to transcend the Satoguna also to come to a platform of developing pure devotional service unto Krishna. If we miss this point, if we become satisfied by Satoguna, then it can be intoxicating also. This is what happened with these Brahmanas. They become intoxicated by their household affairs. We are so perfect in our household affairs. We know how to go to heavenly planets and enjoy there. Everything is in control. Because of the knowledge they are thinking, they are having a feeling that everything is in control. We know what is what. We have understood everything about this material nature. Like today, modern day scientists also, they become very infatuated by their knowledge. We have understood everything, how nature works. We are able to understand how there are different energies flowing in the air. We can capture these energies, like they have this internet, is the energy flowing in the ether. And by capturing that, magics are being done. Just staying in one place, we can immediately make a call thousands and thousands of kilometers. We can see them, video calling, we can just see them. It's like a yogic siddhi. So therefore it is no doubt, it is not astonishing that therefore scientists and people who are following these scientists, naturally they will become very intoxicated, very puffed up. Wow, we have conquered nature, and one day we will conquer death and everything. Where is God? There is no need of God. We are God, because we are doing wonderful things. So like that, this is infatuation, knowledge, infatuation of knowledge. So this is being stated here by these Brahmanas. Nunam swartha vimudanam pramattanam griha ihaya. Aho, na smarayamas gopavakyai satam gati. But just see how Krishna has mercifully reminded us of our real destination. But these Brahmanas were very different from the modern scientists. These Brahmanas' wives were great devotees. That was their great fortune. Because of that, they could understand their folly. They could understand that how they were befooled by Maya. Because they had the association of their good wives who were great devotees. So by the mercy of those wives, their wives, they became fortunate to realize their mistake and to realize the glories of Krishna. But not to the complete extent still. Because even when they understood that actually that boy who came, Krishna, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even then, even after knowing it, they did not go and meet that boy who was still there nearby in the forest. Why? Because they were afraid that Kamsa will come to know that we have gone to meet this Krishna, and then what will happen to us? This Kamsa will punish us. So they were still concerned about Kamsa. They still did not fully surrender to Krishna. But anyway, they made a great progress by appreciating Krishna, that this boy is Krishna, this is Supreme Personality of God. They understood it. That this boy, he sent Gopavakyai, how he made us realize by the words of this cowherd boys, by those words, on the pretense that he is hungry, he actually made us understand the highest goal of our sacrifices. What is that highest goal? To please Krishna. That is the highest goal of our existence. So by asking food from us through this Gopa Kumara, through these cowherd boys, he reminded us that our duty is to feed Krishna. Our duty is to serve Krishna. He reminded us. So he sent a message that you please, you serve me. But how unfortunate we are. Oh Krishna, how unfortunate that we didn't understand that. He personally came to show us that okay, sacrifices you are doing, the purpose of sacrifices is to please me. I am standing right in front of you. These sacrifices are indirect means to satisfy Krishna. But bhakti is the direct means to satisfy Krishna. That is the difference between Vedic rituals and devotional service. Both are meant to serve Krishna, but one is direct, another is indirect. By yajna, indirectly we serve Krishna. Through the fire, we offer food to the fire, and fire is supposed to be representative of Krishna, and that way Krishna accepts. It's an indirect way. Via. It's not direct way. But because it is indirect way, there is every chance that one will not understand the real import of these sacrifices. This is what happened with the Brahmanas. They were so much enamored by the indirect process that they couldn't realize the ultimate goal of those sacrifices. In the previous verse, previous to this verse, which Prabhu took, it was said there, Nasam dvijati samskaro na nivaso guravapi na tapo na atma mimamsa na shaucham na kriya shubhaha tathapi hi uttama shloke krishne yogeshwareshware bhaktir dridha na chasmakam samskaradi matamapi. Now they are comparing themselves with their wives. On one hand, we, the Brahmanas, we are trained, we are dvijas, we took second birth by so many samskaras, upanayana samskara, janmana jayate shudra samskarat bhavet dvijah. Everyone is born shudra. Even though one is born in a Brahmana family, even though one is a potential Brahmana, even then by birth everyone is considered Shudra only. Samskarat bhavet dvija. But when a person who has a potential to act as a Brahmana, then he is given this samskara, appropriate purificatory procedures by which he becomes purified further to learn Vedas. So samskarat bhavet dvija. Veda pathet bhavet vipra. And then after Upanayana samskar, one becomes eligible to study Vedas under the guidance of, under the tutelage of a guru. And then he becomes vipra, knowledgeable. And then when one realizes the teachings of the Vedas, then one becomes Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. When one realizes the absolute truth, then he becomes a Brahmana. So these Brahmanas are saying that we are dvijas, we underwent all these purificatory procedures, Upanayana Samskara. These ladies, these wives, our wives, they did not go through any of these samskaras. So what we can understand from that, in Vedic culture, Upanayana Samskara is only for the men of the three varnas. It is not given to the women. Still, once they marry a Brahmana, the women, then they become eligible to worship the Supreme Lord. Like in Vedic tradition, Shaligram worship. Every Brahmana is supposed to worship Shaligram Shila in their homes. So their wives, they will cook for the Shaligram, and in that way they will worship the Shaligram. But they don't undergo Upanayana Samskara. Still, at the time of marriage, it is considered that they have become eligible now to worship the Lord. So this is their initiation. For women, their marriage is initiation. This is equivalent to initiation. Formal initiation of mantra, Gayatri mantra is formally not given in the Vedic culture, but the marriage of a women to a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, three varnas, that is considered initiation, and by that they can then cook for the Lord. That is the Vedic tradition. Then another thing to be noted here is na nivaso guravapi. These our wives, they never lived in the ashram of Guru. So again, important thing to be understood, in Vedic culture, women will not live in the ashram of Guru. Prabhupada so many times he emphasized that in Vedic culture, women are always kept under protection. Before marriage, they are kept under the protection of father. Then father gives them under the protection of a suitable husband. And then when husband takes sannyas, then again the wife comes back, continues to stay in the protection of grown-up son. So they never, so the Brahmanas are saying, they never went to live in the ashram of the Guru. Na tapo, na atma mimamsa. Neither they underwent austerities. So women are not also supposed to undergo the typical Vedic austerities. Their all advancement comes by serving the husband, and the husband serves the Guru. And in this way they attain all the perfection which is attained by the Guru, by the husband. Therefore, and in Sanskrit they are called Ardhangani. They are the better half. So whatever the man by his devotion service, by his pious activities he attains, the half of that is automatically goes to wife, because the wife serves the husband. So that is how she gets benefited and she gets elevated. So, but personally they don't need to undergo, no need to learn the Vedas and understand the philosophy Mimamsa, Atma Mimamsa, understanding the philosophy of distinguishing self, Atma, from the body. All that is not required. The husband, the Brahmana, especially in the case here, Brahmanas, they undergo Vedic study, but the benefit is derived by the wife automatically. That is why Vyasadeva said, among the two genders, the women are better, because among all the yugas, Kali Yuga is the best, and among the gender, the women gender is better, because very easily they can advance just by properly being situated in their ashram. They can advance. So na mimamsa, na shaucham, the purificatory process, the different Vedic rituals they didn't do, and different pious activities recommended, so many elaborate pious activities recommended, they also did not do. But still, just see, they developed such a devotion unto Krishna. Bhakti dridaha, very drida bhakti, very strong devotion they developed unto Krishna Yogeshweshware. So they are wondering how these women could have developed this devotion, because they only knew that by performing sacrifices, by performing Vedas, everything, only one can advance. And yes, we are performing that thing, but we could not understand Krishna. So it is not that by dint of our piety, our devotion, they could have got that devotion, because we ourselves didn't know. So how is it possible that we could have transferred our piety to them? Then how they could have developed this devotion to Krishna, they are wondering. So it should be only by special mercy of Krishna. Therefore here the word is used, Yogeshwara. Anyway, this Krishna is the master of all the yogic process. So by his sweet wish, causeless mercy, he would have given this devotion unto these ladies, because we are not able to find any cause. So they were unaware of what happened. So this is like in the purport last, this was explained. They didn't know that they got the association of the ladies of Vrindavan, and they heard about Krishna from them, and that's how they got devotion. So actually the only way to get devotion is by coming in contact with pure devotees. These Brahmanas, they were doing their austerities, and it is said in Bhagavad Gita also, Yeshantu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda mohane mukta bhajante mam dadvata. What is the meaning of that verse? Yeshantu antagatam papam, those whose all impious deeds are finished, those who have become completely purified, they only can do Dridhavrata bhakti, unwavering devotion to me. So does that mean by material piety one attains devotion service? Does that mean that? No. We find in scriptures so many places it is said that bhakti is ahaituki. It is not caused by anything material. So material piety, janma koti sukriter na labhyate. In another verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it is said, even by many lifetimes of accumulating pious activities, material pious activities like feeding the poor, helping someone by giving medicines, by giving material education, by all such material pious activities, one can never attain devotional service unto Krishna. Then, why this verse says that those who are completely purified, those who have completely purified of their sinful reactions, they only can render devotional service. What is the relationship? Why in this shloka then it is said? So there we have to understand, Acharyas explain, the meaning is this. When one performs pious activities, like these Brahmanas are performing, and if they don't become puffed up by that piety, by that satoguna, then they become naturally very humble and always very respectful to the sadhus, to the saintly people. And among the saintly people, if some devotee appears to come to their house, so by their very nature, because they have become very respectful to sadhus, they will respect this devotee also. Correct? Like you see, Prabhupada's father, always he will invite sadhus. His house will always be filled with saintly people. Of course, Prabhupada's father was a pure devotee also, but those who are pious, they always welcome saintly people. Like it should be everywhere. Pious people, they naturally, when they will see somebody who is renounced, who has some good qualities of, who's very religious, naturally they will have respect for them. Like in India, especially in some states like Gujarat, people are very pious. If we go in this dress, then they would invite us to their houses. They would like to feed us. Like once there was marathon going on, and we went to one village distributing Bhagavad Gita. So any house we will go, they will make us sit and they will give us milk. Please drink milk. So that day we drank so much milk, because every house we have to drink milk. They will not allow us to go without drinking milk. So something, a small amount. So, and then they will give us some dakshina. So if you go in India, in some place like this Gujarat, it can be very dangerous. If you put this dress, and then you can make it a profession. You don't need to work. You will get, people will give you dakshina, and you can misuse it, and you can just live like that. And there are many pretenders in Gujarat who make it a profession, because it is so easy. It is so easy to live there. You just put this dress, and so that's another. There is another bad aspect of it. Sometimes people are so pious, but they cannot distinguish. This is Easter celebration. What is the celebration? Easter, no? Actually, religious life is meant to accrue some piety, but nowadays all religious activities have become mixed with completely impious activities like drinking wine and killing animals everywhere. In India also, any festival, it is meant to just enjoy. Festival, they don't understand what is the meaning of the festival. Their only essence is, it's a time for us to enjoy. That's all. Anyway, so what I was saying, I lost my thread. Gujarat. So pious people, so they just want. So because of that pious nature, they want to invite the sadhus. So when they invite the sadhus, if the sadhus happen to be a devotee, then they will unknowingly serve a devotee, and by that they will accrue unknowingly devotional credits, devotional pious activities being performed by them unknowingly by serving a devotee. They didn't know that he is a devotee, they didn't know the difference between a devotee and the other sadhus, but because by their nature they want to serve, they want to welcome sadhus, unknowingly they welcome devotee, and by that they accrue devotional piety, and by dint of that they become devotees. So therefore that verse is there. So these Brahmanas, they didn't know that why these wives, how they could get that devotion. They didn't know that there are two ways to get devotion. There is one gradual process and there is one direct process. Prabhupada used to compare these two processes with a staircase and lift. To go to first floor, second floor, in buildings there are two ways. One, there is a staircase and then there is a lift. So the gradual process is that you perform different Vedic rituals, and gradually you attain the life of a Brahmana, birth of a Brahmana. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. It takes many births. If one is born as a Shudra, then he will do his prescribed duty very nicely. That is piety, material piety. If one does one's prescribed duty, that is piety, that is pious. If one goes on doing one's prescribed duties properly and other pious activities, then the result will be one will be born as a Bhramana. And then further he continues doing pious activities, then one day will get association of devotees, and then one will become a devotee. That's a gradual way. But direct process is Mami partha vipashitya yepisyu papayonaya striyo vaishya sata shuddhas tepi yanti paranga. Kirat Unandra Pulinda Pukkasha. Anyone, Kirat Unandra, anyone of any birth, without any piety, rather completely sinful, even then, if they come in contact with pure devotees, and if they have some unknown pious activities, devotional pious activity with them, then they accept the devotee association. And by that, they attain devotion. This is the direct way. Sudden association with devotees. They don't have to go through this gradual process. Very sinful. But if they accept devotee association, devotees, if they respect the devotee, then they will accrue that piety. That's what Srila Prabhupada said when his disciples asked him once, Prabhupada, Western people, we all are accustomed to completely sinful activities. Then how is it possible that we could develop this devotion? Prabhupada said, I made that piety for you. Because Prabhupada came to West by his own sweet wish. And then he gave chance to the people to render some service to Prabhupada. Like once Prabhupada was giving lecture in that 26 2nd Avenue, and one hippie came in completely intoxicated due to drugs, and he came in and left a bundle of tissue paper and went. So Prabhupada said, see, he did this devotional service. He brought tissue paper. Okay, some people are here, it will be useful for them. So, like that, but because the people there is Prabhupada, the person there is Prabhupada, who is a great devotee, he didn't know that hippie, he didn't know that what I am doing, for whom I am doing. He didn't know that. He just knew that, okay, let me do something good for them. But because that person happened to be Prabhupada, so great credit was accrued by that person. So therefore, devotees are said to be mobile pilgrimage places. Pilgrimage places are the places where people accrue piety, but devotees are mobile tirtha. And not ordinary piety, they give devotional piety. So therefore, Krishna is, he says, Natasmat manusheshu kaschin me priya krittamaha. To those who are preachers, those who are not just preachers but who are devotees, who have in their heart the desire to bring others to Krishna consciousness, Krishna feel indebted to them, because they are the only means to bring people to Krishna consciousness. By their sweet wish, they move around and they give chance to people to accumulate that unknowingly, that devotional service, that piety, or those who have come up to engage them in devotional service. So this is the very important lesson to be learned. So we have a very important task to perform. We are the medium by which Krishna rescues people. Devotees are the medium. We are not devotees, we are trying to be devotees. But still, if we are sincere, Krishna can empower us to become the via medium for all the people. So, if we are very sincere in our devotion service, whenever we are going around, whenever we are meeting people and we are trying to preach, then people are becoming purified. They are taking up devotion service. So therefore we have a very great responsibility that we should utilize our existence to preach, to go around, not to stay inside, but to go out. Go out and meet people and talk to them about Krishna. Even just those who are great devotees, even just by seeing them, people take to devotional service. But at least we should go out and give out books, meet and speak about Krishna. They will change. People will change. In spite of all impious reactions to impious activities in their heart, everything will get nullified by the power of that devotional service. Hare Krishna. So stop here. Any questions or any comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. Prabhuji, in your lecture you said women and all, when they serve their husbands, they get piety. They don't supposed to perform tedious austerities. But I see in Vrindavan, women go for 1 month parikrama.
For what?
They go for parikrama, 1 month.
That is devotion service. That is not a Vedic sacrifice, a Vedic austerity. That is a part of direct devotion service. Going around parikrama of Govardhan, Vrindavan, that is a direct devotion service. So devotional service anybody can do, like chanting Hare Krishna, that anybody can do. But Vedic rituals, Vedic austerities, specific austerities, that they don't do. Yes, Mother. Oh, I can't hear. Mic. Okay. Bhakti. Is it an attainment? Somebody is born with. Okay. If somebody is born with, then the question will arise, why somebody is born with bhakti and why not? So there must be something before that, which made someone to be born with bhakti. So it only comes down to the same question again. Then what causes bhakti to appear? So bhaktya sanjataya bhakti. Devotion is attained by devotion. If we have attained devotion in previous life, then we will be born with that devotion. But presently in this material world, we are here without devotion. So we have to attain that devotion. It cannot, and it is not attained accidentally. It is not an accident that just somehow somebody gets devotion. Krishna like it is said, ahituki pratyata. There is no cause, but still there is no material cause. But that doesn't mean that it is completely accidental. Bhaktya sanjataya bhakti. By bhakti we attain bhakti. That means by performing sadhana bhakti, we attain love of Krishna, which is another form of bhakti. So, Shraddhavan jan hoy bhakti adhikari. So, faith in devotion service is the entrance to bhakti, and that faith is attained by serving the devotees. So, cause of bhakti is bhakti in the form of serving devotees. Now, whether one has that devotion at the time of birth or one attains that during his lifetime, but somewhere he has to come in association with devotees, render service to devotees. By that he will get devotion service. If we have done in our previous life, it will come with us. So then when we are born, we are born with that credit of devotional service. So, at certain time, suddenly that bhakti will manifest. And we will suddenly become interested in bhakti. We see people are at certain age, suddenly they become very much inclined, and they practice very intensely, and they advance very quickly. That shows that they were born with bhakti in their previous lives. It was there, but by Krishna's arrangement, at certain time it becomes manifest. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you very much for these great insights. And in your explanation, you highlighted a lot on intoxication.
Intoxication.
And what we, like the Brahmanas, were lamenting about their situation, being so intoxicated about household duties. But what we see that the 6 opulences of Krishna.
What we see?
The 6 opulences of Krishna.
6 opulences of Krishna.
Just any one of them, the little to the living entity, the living entity becomes infatuated or intoxicated. If it's knowledge, once it's in the empty knowledge, he wants everybody to see that, yes, I am the man, I know. You see poor people suddenly becoming rich, and by the riches, everything changed about them. Some are born very ugly, but as they are growing, then the body is changing. Sooner they become very beautiful, and by that beautiful, when it's moving now, it's people watching me. That they recognize that I'm beautiful now. So, in that wise, even in devotional service, we see. When one is performing devotional service, very nice. Sometimes that infatuation or intoxication comes into the mind that the people should see that, yes, I am doing good. I am the devotee. So in that wise, how can we overcome that, especially particularly within the devotional court? Not to be infatuated by the services or anything we are doing with Krishna.
So, we have so many anarthas, the seeds are there. Therefore, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is explained, when a sadhaka, practitioner of devotional service, is hearing and chanting, if he is not very careful to see the weeds coming up and immediately taking them out, then these weeds will grow and hamper his bhakti lata. So we have to take it for granted that these seeds of the weeds are there. Plenty. Like if you do farming, those who do some farming, they will know, when there is a dry season, summer, there is no plantation. The moment it rains, suddenly from nowhere, there are plants everywhere. And then you plow the field. Again it rains. Again so many weeds come. So this earth is having like unlimited stock of seeds always there. So similarly in our heart, we have this practically unlimited stock of all these anarthas, and of all these anarthas, this pratisthasha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talks about different types of these anarthas. So out of them, labha puja pratisthasha. So this pratisthasha is the most difficult to overcome, this weed of pratisthasha. So there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, there he explains how the way to not become overcome by this anartha. These seeds will be there, they will sprout. But we have to always be looking for them and take them out. It will happen. The moment we are doing something good, that seed will sprout and we will feel, oh, so nice about ourselves, because the tendency to enjoy is always there. But if we are very sincere in our devotional service, Krishna will give us immediately that knowledge that, see, this is the weed. But if we are cultivating some other desire, then we will not see that weed. Rather, we will appreciate that weed and we will pour water into that weed. Yeah, very good, very good, very good. And then that weed will become very big and it will come. So, ultimately, it very much depends on our sincerity. From very beginning of our devotional life, we should ensure that we are not cultivating some other desire along with the desire to serve Krishna. If there is a small desire which we are cultivating, anything, one day it will drown us. So, sincerity is the most important thing which will help us to identify those weeds and take them out. And we have to keep ourselves always in good association and always hearing and chanting. At the same time, be always careful about these weeds and taking them out. This is my understanding. You can elaborate. Have to wait for some time. Processions. Today is a day of processions. Whole day it will be like that. Whole day it will be like that. In this country?
Yeah, these are Christian groups.
Uh-huh.
It's Christian.
Yeah. Hare.
Thanks so much for your lectures. We normally compare devotional service with the other yoga systems, and we have agreed that bhakti is the most of life and easy to perform. With no hard and fast rules to perform.
Easy to perform
Yes.
in this age.
This age, bhakti
Yeah.
yoga.
Bhakti yoga.
Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
And we normally say there are no hard and fast rules.
No hard and fast rules.
But first we have 4 regulation principles.
But we have 4 agreed principles.
If we go further, we have 10 offenses.
Then we have 10 offenses.
And then, if you are researchful and you go to the lecture of instruction, especially the first one, you see so many instructions there. Are they not necessary? Because for us in the Grihastha life, there are rules for us to follow. Especially, I heard somewhere that even if you want to bring for the child, you need to chant 50 rounds before you can meet your partner. All these, I think, they are hard rules to follow. Not only that, there are other explanations by Srila Prabhupada when you want to read the test one. So are they not necessary just by chanting the harekrishna 16 rounds every day, you will get all those things and then you will be created?
Okay.
Or you follow them. We don't teach this to the outside devotees who come on Sunday. Even among ourselves, we don't go through this regularly. So are they not necessary?
Yeah. Okay. So these rules and regulations are not necessary to begin bhakti. But as we advance, that is the very meaning of advancement, that we do things what Krishna likes. So these rules regulation prepare us that we become accustomed to act a way that Krishna is pleased. So not that we can remain with our all bad habits and we can go to Krishna. What we'll do there if we go to Goloka, if we are filled with all bad habits? So these rules, regulations are to polish us, like a diamond is polished. But it is not a prerequisite to start the process. It is not that, like in many other processes, first you have to perform something else, become qualified, and then only you can enter into this. So bhakti is not like that. Even if you are presently accustomed to eating meat, but if you have a little desire, understanding that, okay, let me start the process, you can begin from there. Not that first you have to do something else to overcome those bad habits, go to some de-addiction center first, become de-addicted first, and then only I can chant. It is not like that. You can begin chanting at any time, but with an understanding that these things are not good, I should give them up. This is not pleasing to God. With that understanding we can begin, and these bad habits will continue with us for some time, but we have to understand that I have to overcome them, and for that we are praying to Krishna, and for them we are performing this devotion service which will help us to overcome this rules regulation. So the point is that initially it is not prerequisite, and gradually as we perform devotion service they become natural. Then it doesn't appear like a rule, it is natural. Like initially it's a rule that you have to get up early in the morning in Brahma Muhurta. So we don't want to get up early in the morning, but it's a rule, you have to get up. If you want to advance further, this is the recommendation, you should do this because it is helpful. But the meaning is, the import is, by doing it, as we advance, we will naturally want to get up at that time and chant Hare Krishna. So that is the meaning. So all these rules regulation will become natural as we advance. Does that answer your question?
If I understand your explanation, it means that bhakti is an aspiration.
Bhakti is an aspiration.
It's something that is a very desire. It's something that is very inside. It's something that is within.
Yes, bhakti is the desire to serve Krishna. Bhakti is the desire to serve Krishna. Bhakti is not about doing things, but doing things with what spirit, that together makes bhakti. Bhakti is also not just desire. The desire has to be expressed through activities. So combination of desire and activity together make bhakti. So it's the activity with the desire to serve Krishna. A bona fide activity of pleasing Krishna with the desire to please Krishna, that is what is called bhakti. Is that okay? We stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.